Hey guys, this is Dardamos with Dardamos Dominions. I am here with a couple of my fellow co-hosts. Say hi to RCK.
Hey.
And again, we have Geslov. How are you doing, dude?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Doing pretty good. Been busy, and but we're starting to get some videos in, which is kind of exciting. So, RCK, do you want to explain what we're doing here?
Yes, we're going to be playing the third game.
Okay, what? So I guess we're doing Omniscience again. Is there anything different this time?
We're going to have a lot of new players. I don't know. I don't know what's different. You tell me. I did just notice that me and Gaslov are the first winner and the second winner. I didn't think about that before we started this.
And neither of you are in this game, so we're going to have a new one too, right?
Yeah, we do have a lot of new nations we haven't seen before.
And speaking of that, let's go over some of the nations that are kind of new in this one. The first one that kind of pops out to me is Asphodel, and this isn't a very it's not a very popular nation. Gatsop, why is that?
You know, I've kind of thought about this too, and I'm not really sure. I know they're considered to be the worst nations, but I've recently just been in a game where Asphodel won.
Who is
I
playing?
think they might actually be a little underrated. I don't know, someone I've never met before.
Like, were they was
whooped everybody's butt on his side of the world.
Oh wow. And so how do they usually win? Because I had played them before, and they didn't seem like that great of a nation.
Well, I'm pretty sure he killed two of his neighbors and then went for a throne rush. It was pretty spectacular, and everybody congratulated on it because nobody expected Asphodel to win. So it was pretty incredible.
Do you know what his bless is when he won?
You know, I don't, because it was a larger game, and he was on the other side of the world from me.
So you didn't have to get a go at him, huh?
I didn't. But I think one of the problems with Asphodel is, they're a pop kill nation and they need population.
I was thinking that as well.
Their own stuff really just punishes them, and for no really good reason.
Now, pushing on to the next nation, another one that hits me is Abyssea, because I know that Abyssea seems a little weaker for me in EA, and it might just be, the games I've played. But is Abyssea how does that change from EA to MA? RCK, do you know this?
I know their sacreds change. Let me pull it up real fast.
Wait, I remember you played an Abyssea game. I mean, not a really long one, but you played the game with my wife. You were Abyssea, correct?
No, I think I was Lenka in that game.
Oh, that's right. Somebody was playing Abyssea.
I'm actually playing in the tourney game that's going on.
Really? Okay, so let's go to you again.
I'll tell you some of the differences. I think MA Abyssea is quite a bit weaker than EA Abyssea in that they lose their really awesome assassins. They still have their weaker assassins, but they lose the flying assassins. They lose their really high fire path sacred mage, who's a priest 3, which is it's a rare thing to have on a nation. Is priest 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, their sacreds get substantially worse.
So what do they get out of the whole situation?
Well, see, and that's why I'm saying I think they're kind of worse. They are definitely a much stronger blood nation than their previous age.
For sure.
They got these cool demon bred guys who can search for blood really well, even though they're capital only. And with these guys, you really want to blood communion up and get some strong astral going, and that's really how you're going to get some of your earth buffs. And if you're lucky, you can get high fire on the field with your dragon. mages.
Do you feel that it's worth taking into a game like this where, I mean, it's an MA game, it's a strong, I mean, MA is always MA. Was it worth taking, or is it a challenge pick?
I think Abyssia is a very average nation. They have good troops. They're a lot like Ulm in a way, MA Ulm. But I feel like their magic is a little on the weaker side versus Ulm. They're not as good at buffing their troops as Ulm is. Yeah, I think it's going to be challenging. Though I've been in a game where MA Abyssia has won, so I know they can do it.
It's really interesting. I mean, I can't think of a nation that I haven't seen win except for Relay, LA Relay. I've never seen a winning game, but I think Lucid, is he winning that one?
I can't remember if they decided to tie it out between Saccony and Lucid and just call the game there. I did sub into that game for a little while, but I subbed into a losing position, fighting Lucid, and I gave him some good Bane Venom charms and assassinations playing LA Satis, but other than that, I think they tied the game off and called it as a tie.
Oh, yeah. Like, so that I mean, I would still count that as a win, and it's really interesting because I mean, can you think of a nation that you've not seen win before and that you think it's impossible to win with them?
Well, I've never seen Bandar Log win. I'm not saying that's impossible to win with them, but
he won a Lucid's games. Bandar Log won.
Oh, really?
His Ulm game, it was a guy who was it was his first game, but since it went to turn like 7,000, like he got better as he went along. He was also diplomacy the whole time, and they looked at, I think it was between Relay, Ulm, and Bandar Log. He had up Arcane Nexus. He had up like some other big ones, like I can't remember, and he was doing witch factories. And GC looked at all three nations and declared Bandar Log the winner.
Huh.
I think Bandar Log is incredibly powerful, especially late. But that's really interesting because what's really interesting, Gazlov, like you told me one, and then I'm like, no, like what about this situation? And I'm pretty sure that if I gave you like a couple of my ideas, it just in different communities you get different wins in different places. And I think it's one of the cool things about Dominions is that there are no weak nations because of the multiplayer aspect of it.
Well, okay. What about Eru?
See, you're the guy with elves. I've never even seen anybody play Eru. Oh no. Oh shoot, what's his face? Stalin, Ballin Stalin. He won a game with Eru. I'm pretty sure he's
no way.
You can talk to him.
All right, I will.
Now he might be, he might have been pulling our chain. You know how Ballin is, but I thought he told me that he won with Eru, but I might be wrong on that.
I'm sure every nation has won at some point in some group. I know I've played a whole lot of games, and these are the nations that I've never seen personally win.
What's wrong with Eru?
Eru is just their troop lineup is really bad, and their magic doesn't make up for it. They just don't have anything going for them.
Do you think if they were in EA or LA instead that they would be able to hold their own? MA being incredibly difficult.
No, even if they were in LA, for sure they'd be screwed. EA, I mean, well, in EA they are TNN, and TNN is pretty good. But yeah, Eru TNN to Eru is worse than Vanheim as far as the power drop goes from the change in the eras.
Jeez. Okay, are there any other nations you see here that are kind of out of place?
I don't like the Relay pick. I feel
why?
Like every time someone plays Relay in MA, it's because they literally want to do nothing all game.
Okay, explain why. I'm kind of curious. Go into why.
I'm sure in my experience, I've never seen a relay player in MA ever do anything. They will take over their little ocean and sit around all game. And then the game pretty much ends before they do whatever it is they were planning on doing. I honestly don't think any relay player has ever had a strategy, like an actual in-game goal.
I was playing an Ermor game that actually won just recently, and it came down to me fighting Pangea and Relay. I already knocked Gis and Falegra out of the game at that point, and they started their assassination spam with the water bottles and the rest of that stuff.
Oh, jeez.
And it might slow me down for 5 turns. And he tried to get his army out to come and fight me, and I just stomped it. And they were like, "Well, good game. Let's call it." I think I like magic phased my god in, and they just couldn't kill it, and they lost like 60 gems in one turn because they fought like 6 assassins against it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's the risk of the assassin build, and is you there's only one guy there, and he can take out every single one of your assassins, and you lose everything in one turn to a single general. But yeah, I think there's something to be said of resting in the sea and not pushing out from the water. Why is it that players are so hesitant to come out of the water and be aggressive as a water nation?
Well, I have this theory about the kind of player who will pick a water nation when they're the only water nation. And my suspicion is they're tired of getting just creamed by other players. And so they're like, "Oh, well, at least they can't get me down here." You know, but then they themselves don't do anything. It's like, do you not understand the point of the game?
I will say that was the point of why I took Theranos in that second game.
I was about to say, for RCK sitting here going, "That was me."
No,
it worked though. It's true, it worked. You're saying this like it's a bad thing, Gathom. It sounds like a good idea to me.
Hey,
Oh, are you Toolbox? Is that you, dude?
yeah, I'm up. Sorry, I should have came a little earlier.
No, not at all. I'm busy. So I'm put this onto a PPT, and secretly behind the scenes, I'm making the rest of the PPT in the background. We started with 1 slide, and we're up to 11 now, and so we're actually going to push on to the second one anyways. But I can't tell who's talking, so
All
yeah.
right, that's good.
So one of the things that
I just want to add something to the relay thing. So I was in a game where there was a relay player, and he absolutely did nothing for the entire game. Then what he did was he teleported all of his mages, and he casted Master and Slave, and he got all of my army. And I was like, "What the?" and that's all he did. That's all he can do. So, but he got my army though. So.
I played more relay games than I've played any other nation except maybe Femoria and Ulm. And I think that they're one of the strongest nations in the game, even on land, but they're weaker on land.
It is very powerful. I just like to say Communion and Master and Slave is very powerful. You will get an entire army if you have the right kit. So
yeah, I mean, I think that it does. I think that Gaslov, you got a good point though. I think that a certain kind of player, and I'm somebody that likes, like, I play single player games a lot, so I like that corner spot where you've got secure flanks, and I think that it moved over to Dominions, whereas Relay is the only water nation. You've got so many secure flanks. I mean, like, worst case scenario, they're gonna have to be creative in order to get to the water to get you. So. Okay, so I moved on, and as you guys can see, these are the settings for the game. Now, Toolbox, you're actually going to be playing as Pan, right?
Yep.
What do you think about the throne settings, dude?
What is the throne setting? Sorry, I just kind of walked in.
I can maybe possibly.
It's very hard to read from here. I can't tell the difference between 0 and 8. So I assume that's 8 level 2 and 1 level 3.
Let me see if I can change the color around in order to make sure that it's. Oh, is that better?
No. Can you just read it out to me?
Now it's even
You're
worse.
right, though, Toolbox. It is 8 level 2s and 1 level 3 with 11 ascension points. There you go. That's bigger.
Okay, that's better. Yeah. That's pretty fair. That is fair. And it's just people don't like level 1 thrones, and I completely understand it because you can sort of walk in with your sacreds in early games sometimes, and you can just get the thrones. Whereas level 2 is not so trivial like that. But if you have all level 3s, then some nations can't get those thrones unless they take a huge casualty. So it's a little bit imbalanced in that sense. So having a lot of level 2 is the fairest way to go, and I think it's the general consensus by the community.
I think that when I was making, I used to make like a ton of games, and I loved this throne setting because at the end of the game, the question was who had the level 3 throne, and it was that question: who has level 3 throne, and how many times having the level 3 throne made or broke a game. And it wasn't every single game, but it put that extra level of excitement in there because that level 3 throne will let you go from getting 6 thrones down to only having 5 thrones, which I think is really, really cool. What's your thoughts on level 2 thrones, Gazloff?
Yeah, I definitely feel that the level 2 tend to be the most balanced as far as what you get for how much it takes to get them. But I really do like the setup you have here where you throw in that single level 3 throne because it does really change the dynamic of the game, where most of the time you're trying to get X number of thrones, but if you happen to be able to capture this level 3, I mean, that's one less throne you need.
What now we're talking about the what level thrones there are. Do you like the grab bag, RCK? Do you like the grab bag maps where they throw in like 2 of these, 3 of those, 4 of those, like a bit of like a mixture? How do you feel about those?
I'm still not much of a fan of level 1 thrones just to how easy. We spoke about that earlier. And when you take a level 1 throne, very rarely do any of them really matter all that much. It's not till you get to level 2s and 3s that when you put the effort in, it's actually going to help you out in a nice way or form, either when it comes to getting gems, more powers on your bless, different things like that. And normally, I mean, I make a lot of games on the servers that I'm on. So I mean, I probably host 20 games right now, and between noob games or a handful of games that I'm in, and as far as noob games go, I always make usually a 9-player map. Either it's pre-made or map nuke, and I set 8 level 2 thrones and 1 level 3 throne, one for every player, and 1 throne that can mix it up a little bit. As those are just the settings that I like to go with.
Now let's segue from. Oh wait, I'm sorry. We gotta hit the mods first, and we can segue into the map nuke. The mods. Do you wanna go over these, RCK? Because you're the one who picked these out.
Yeah, these are also ones I normally go with, other than Omniscient mod, which is that's what we use to watch the gameplay. What's all going on down the map. We have a improved casting AI mod. We have Worthy Heroes, and we have Lucid's thematic gem generator. Now, the improved casting AI, all it really does is help your mages cast more relevant spells whenever they go off script. That's really about it. Except instead of casting maybe a self buff, maybe they're actually going to do something that deals damage. The Worthy Heroes mod, all that does is add a handful of extra heroes to the game, just kind of spice it up a little bit. So it's not really game changing. It just adds a little bit to the game. And then Lucid's gem generator, that's going to put in a handful of items in the game that give you, I'm pretty sure it's temporary gems on mages it's like a, how I put this, it's a investment to get gems every turn. And honestly, the more I play, the more I like using them because it is a hassle to continuously put gems and make sure all the gems are correct on your mages. Now, when you're in big communions, of course, you're always going to have to keep an eye on that. But if you have, say, a communion mage and he's only supposed to cast one thing, and say if he's got Crystal Matrix, he's off magic script or whatever. I just want him to cast that one thing. I'll throw. I forget the names of the items at the moment, but it will give him like 2 astral pearls or 2 nature pearls, and I mean that might be something in the long term you have to trade for to get because I mean depending on what nations you are, you might just be constricted on what you can use and what indies you get throughout the game. But it just adds a little bit more to the game, but just it doesn't like completely change it like a full mod does, like say DE or something like that.
Yeah, what I like is that there's a like it seems like there's a risk reward for it too because they are pretty high. They're pretty expensive items, aren't they?
I think usually they're around the 10 to 15 gem range. Most of them are.
In hot like it, so that normally takes like 10 casts in order to get your gems back, unless you're using a hammer, and even then that's 8 battles, and 8 battles seems like a big deal.
I mean, at the same time, you can also think, hey, I'm sending this army to go and fight. When's the next time is it going to get to a lab? You know?
Yeah, and beyond that, it also, I mean, it's before that, I still use the mule, the guy. What's the term for the little scout that always has all your gems on him?
I don't know. I just say scout. But I know what you're talking about. I've done this before.
Gazlov, do you know the term for that?
I don't. I don't officially call them anything.
Okay, Tuhash, do you have your own personal name for like the gem holders?
I call it a carrier pigeon, but that's just me. But that's also because I'm playing Pan and I'm currently using
literally carrier pigeons.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, like using those guys to cart gems from place to place was I mean, it's one of the things that's not fun about Dominions, and I've heard people wanting it to change. But at the same time, gem baiting is such an interesting tactic that I don't want it to go away. I don't have a solution for that.
Yeah, see, I kind of hate it. I think that's a bit it's kind of exploiting the rules of the game a little. Not that I don't do it, but I think it's kind of cheap.
I know that I was playing with Grippa the other day, or a while back now, and I went in to try to gem bait him, and between the battles, something had changed in the rules, and so like I named him like Gem Baiter McGem Baity, and he goes in there and he like stands there, and obviously the rules had changed, so he wasn't a gem baiter anymore, and instead he got just walloped and no gems were used.
Oh no.
You need to know those rules.
Yeah, that's something that they patched a few patches ago, and I think they're trying to make it less transparent so people can't game it as easily as they have in the past.
I don't really know why, because at the end of the day, less transparent means that only a couple people know it. So fewer people know it. It doesn't mean it's not going to be known.
That's a very good point. Yeah, so, I mean, all it does is take a little bit of testing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that had I been more interested, actually no, I think that was during a busy time. If I had more time, I would have tested the gem baiting, I would have tested the battles, I would have done all that, and I would have known exactly how much I would have had to do. It would have just cost me more time, and not even really fun time, because who wants to test gem baiting? It's okay. So other than Lucid's thematic gem gen, what does We're the Heroes add? Gazlov. Go ahead.
Gazlov, answer it.
Yeah, it just adds a bunch of, in my opinion, OP heroes for a bunch of nations.
Are there any
People
nations
like
in this
that.
game that? I'm sorry. Are there any nations in this game, Gazlov, that have any good heroes?
Oh, in this one, well, everyone knows about Ermor's awesome, but that's not from Worthy Heroes, I don't think.
Oh, I can promise, Novel's not going to get any heroes in this game.
Well, that's true. Yeah, he likes to go with his fortune, doesn't he?
Zan, how are you doing, dude? Zan's not here. He's just here.
Yeah, you want to know something? I don't know. I don't think I can answer that. I know Abyssia, and I don't know if it's from Worthy Heroes or not, but they tend to get a lot of those Deathfire heroes on their capital.
I think I like
about?
Worthy Heroes because it gives you the chance for magic diversity.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes that's not a good thing because that's kind of the limit. Well, I mean, that's what kind of limits some nations. That keeps them from being stronger than they should be.
Hey, Zan, we can finally hear you. Hooray!
Woo! Got my mic working. How y'all doing?
Doing really well. We're pushing through the mods, and we talked about some of the nations that were kind of out of place, like that weird person who picked Abyssia.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is. What a weirdo.
What a weirdo.
I don't want to take too much of a step back, but what does Abyssia have, MA? Because we talked about it a little bit. What was do you think Abyssia belongs in the pantheon of MA nations?
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Because it's MA Abyssia. What do you think? Why do you think it belongs there?
All right, so I will say, I've played a little bit of EA and LA, so I've been trying to find what MA is good at. My biggest problem with it is I think they are, and people call me crazy, I think they are the ones that are going to need the most blood magic, and I think they have the least access to that. But what they bring to the table is probably some of the most offensive sacreds. And that flying, the flying sacred commander, and assassins everywhere.
So you what does the blood give Abyssia?
Ton of summons, equipment, bloodletting for can't turn off fog warriors, so you don't actually need magic weapons as much as other nations. You can raid. So one big issue a lot of players have with devils is you have to cast this other spell to get a devil commander, or just leading these flying units is difficult. But with MA Abyssia, you have a flying undead leadership commander that can do things. You got Rush of Strength, which is always huge to add more damage to your army. Just blood magic in general is great, and I think MA Abyssia is one of the better ones at it. People call me crazy because I know they have the capital only mages, but it's fine.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I'm really looking forward. We're gonna look at your starting location in the next one. We are a little bit under time, but I think it's a good stopping point because next time we're gonna look at all the nations that have like their starting locations, and we're gonna compare them. So I want to say thank you to Gazlov for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
RCK, thanks for joining.
Fun.
Toolbox, wonderful having you again.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And Zan, we enjoyed all 5 seconds of you.
Yes, we'll make 6 seconds next time.
Okay, guys, see you in the next one. Bye.